the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Spurs News Podcast. We kick off the new season. It's episode 275 for us as the season begins, 2025-26. I am Sam. If you're new, welcome. If you're coming back to us, you mad people, joining me to discuss all things in the mad and upside down world of Tottenham Hotspur. It's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Hey buddy, how are we doing?
I'm alright. That was a long intro. I feel tired now. It's been a while.
It's been a long summer.
I need to get my podcast muscles back, stretch it out. That wasn't an attractive noise. Hello, everybody. Hello, ladies. Both of you who listen. So, yes, we are back. And to say we have a packed show of things to talk about is an understatement.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you to everyone who got in touch over the summer via the socials or via email. Always appreciate it. Always kind of funny as well when something happens and people want to hear our thoughts on it, because it's like, we're just randoms and, it's just funny to me. So, thank you for everyone who did. I hope I did reply to everyone, I think. If you didn't get a reply to me, then something's gone wrong. I did reply to everyone. At different times, it took me longer to reply because I had to self-edit a lot when it came to certain decisions the club have made. But we'll get into that. Just a few. I want to start the podcast actually by talking about the Lionesses, because I think it's important we recognise the fact that once again, the Lionesses, the England women's team, have won the Euros. They've retained
massive congratulations to them. In the room, it was possibly the worst 2 penalty shootouts I've ever watched in my entire life.
I want to discuss something with you. It could be controversial, but we're going to start the season the way we mean to go on again. It's episode 275 of the show, kicking off the new season. And I've got to be honest with you, having watched the tournament, the Women's Euros, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. The women's game, mate, I don't know. It's a weird thing because, like, I've obviously all my life watched the men's football and everything like that. So I understand football. Like, I understand it. I understand that if you break a nail, you go down like you've been shot, right? I mean, that's football. That is how the game should be played. And I'm watching women with broken legs run it off. They obviously don't understand the game, and it's frustrating to watch.
It was one of those things where I now this season am going to watch the football very differently thanks to that moment.
Yeah. I saw women get kicked up in the air, land, get up. They didn't cry. They didn't act like they'd been howitzered from great distance.
Yeah, they just ran it off.
But don't you think that perhaps they need to work on this? Because I think if they don't fully embrace football as football should be played, it's never going to catch on. It's just gonna fall away. And I saw at least on 2 occasions the referee gave a decision which clearly wasn't right, and the opposition they kind of looked disappointed, but they just got on with it.
That was weird. I didn't like that.
No. There was no threatening to burn the whole stadium down. The fans were not chanting that, the referee needed to be secured in the car park before being, attacked. It just isn't football. And I think people need to... I think the women's game, if it's gonna develop and it's gonna really catch on, they need to learn to play act like the men.
Agreed.
All of that being said, because I could actually feel Stefan's ass cheeks getting tighter as I started talking about the women's game, thinking, oh my God, we're going to get cancelled 5 minutes into this. And I actually felt you relax as I went into the joke. It was kind of nice. And I actually feel like there's plenty of people listening, and I hope there's a few people listening to this, like, yeah, you tell them, Sam, you tell them it's crap. Oh, right, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, so... If that was you, and you were thinking, oh, nah, no, bad. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It is obviously the standard of the game is different with the pace, etc., the power. They are, in terms of professional athletes, 50 some years behind the men's game, but the growth that I've seen in the last 10 years, the development, the skill level.
Definitely.
This is probably the second generation, would you say, professionals in England going through now into the third, fourth?
I would say, yeah, probably your seconds.
Yeah, so
Like you had the last Lionesses squad that won it.
Yeah.
No, probably the third actually, because
Yeah.
there was kind of the generation before them. So yeah, they're probably on the third generation now.
yeah, and the game's just, developing all the time. So
I will say on the side of that, I will say the most disappointing thing about the women's football that I watched over the summer
yeah,
was actually the commentary.
God. See,
That was probably the worst thing, because I
was
just felt it was very women power, girl power. And there were a few things that happened that I'm like, now if that was the men's game,
What's wrong
that
with
player is getting ripped apart.
I teased us being cancelled. I just skirted around it, making a little joke, and you've decided, no, actually, I'm going to confront the largest issue that everyone talked about.
Yeah.
When it comes to
If you
punditry,
overhit a cross, you've overhit a cross. You have not played a great ball, and it's a shame there was nobody 9'7" in the box waiting for it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to speak and you're going to be quiet because you're going to get us in trouble. I'm just going to summarise this and we're going to move on. Unfortunately, it would appear that anyone, including women, former players, and Ian Wright was an example of former players, any pundits who actually critique the women's game, are screamed at and shouted down. Yes. I don't understand why that is. I don't get that, because critiquing is not slamming. Like, there's guys like Joey Barton who just likes the attention of just berating it without really having any...
That bloke has a lot of gaps between those two brain cells, and I don't think they connect all the time.
He's not sensible. He was... Yeah, not a sensible person, but so we're not even going to take him seriously. But my point is, critiquing is not that. Critiquing is like, that was a poor cross. But rather than that, when you've got the commentary on all the time, it's this power of positivity. Now, don't get me wrong, if that's the way they want to go with the game, then fine. But I think as a casual viewer dipping in and out, it was a little frustrating that there was no one actually going, should have done better there or anything like that, which is fine. Like that as a statement isn't laying into somebody. Should have done better that. They'll be disappointed with that. But too often it was like, that was nearly exceptional, and I'm thinking, someone in the crowd just got taken out by that shot. Like, that wasn't nearly... I mean, how nearly's doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, Yeah. Anyway, moving on before you get us cancelled.
They've had a shot. It's hit the corner flag. They were unlucky the goal wasn't there.
Man, just stop. It's like you're determined to kill me here. The very first topic I've got down away from the Lionesses' victory, which I'm super proud of, is Ange. Ange Postecoglou secured us Champions League football, secured us financial security, secured us our first trophy in many a moon. I think 17 years for any trophy, 40 some years for European trophy. Yes. And then got sacked this summer.
Dare is to be sacked. Yes.
This is such a difficult one, and I'll be completely honest, because at the end of last season, a number of times I lost faith, and I'll explain it quite simply, and I think a few people understand it. I lost faith in our ability to actually win a trophy. I've not seen it in so long that the actual belief in us achieving that goal vanished from me, and in the back of my mind thinking, well, we're not going to win anything, and in the league we are this poor, then he's got to go. Like, I like him, I like the way he wants to play, I like the squad he was building, but I think I said it on the show. We
discussed it on the show about the fact that even it looked like, at one point it even looked like the players were just like, go through the motions.
Now, in retrospect, and with a lot of some very, very good journalism and interviews, it is abundantly clear and was made very clear by a lot of players that after January, where Ange was not backed in the transfer market,
Yep.
the players, and he kept saying, this squad needs support, it's not me, they need it. The players and Ange suffered for a good couple of weeks where there was a real morale issue. Because they all felt they'd been kind of abandoned in this bad situation.
You can understand.
Then again, some very, very clear interviews. Van der Ven, Berval and Kulusevski springs to mind. The team were brought together by Sonny as captain. No one cry yet, we're not there yet. And then Sonny in the leadership group went to Ange, and then they all had a meeting, everyone with Ange.
Yep.
Sonny gathered everyone together to be like, we're in a bad moment, but this is where we stick together, we're a family. That was the kind of meeting. The leadership group with Ange were just kind of like, what are we going to do? Because we're so many injuries, we're struggling to even field a team. Like it's a narrative and people will forget it forever. But there were, on 5 occasions in this particular period, we couldn't even name enough people on the bench, so we had more than one goalkeeper on the bench.
Yep.
Like that's mad. Like that's insane. I remember one game, and I can't think of who the opposition was now, but I do remember that they called up 3 kids from the under-21s who were like 18s. They had a game the day before, so they called them up as kind of like, look, just be here as cover in case someone gets hurt in the
get
warm-up.
injured.
Well,
Yeah.
no, just like someone gets hurt in the warm-up, we need an extra body, These players, all 3 of them, pulled muscles, like literally in the game they were playing. It was just an insane curse, like whatever the hell was going on. But anyway, these players and all of these interviews make it abundantly clear that what happened is Ange and his coaching team said to the players, due to the awful level of the 3 bottom clubs, something insane would have to happen for us to be pulled into a relegation fight. So we are going to adjust our training, adjust everything from the focus of the league to focus purely on the cup competitions, because we just exited the League Cup at the semi-final stage. So it was all in Europe, Europa League or bust. And he literally pinned his reputation on it.
Yeah.
There's a very good interview with one of the coaches who has now left, with Optus Sport in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Mil Jedinak. Yeah, I don't know how to say Jedinak. And he said in that Ange was in a constant, nigh on daily fight with higher-ups at the club who were furious that he adjusted the plans to focus on the Europa League. Ange's counter-argument was, if we win the Europa League, we win a trophy which this club desperately needs, and we book the Champions League, which is what you targeted me for at the start of the season.
Yeah. It's a double win, really, isn't it?
So the decision the club had after we did win it, because I lost faith because I didn't actually believe we could win it. We did win it. It was incredible. That whole moment, the night, the parade, it just, I felt so connected to the club again. And saying season 3 would be even better.
Oh, I was ready at that point.
The very next day, he did a press conference where he said, I've kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit because, of course, sometimes the main character is killed off. He knew then, we now know. The club stalled on this for a long time, but apparently he was told after the parade, after he gave that speech, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we then went into this.
Sometimes not the best character. I know what's about to happen.
Yeah. So, we're in this weird thing where I saw lots and lots of fans who just so didn't enjoy Ange Ball, so didn't enjoy his tenure at all, were absolutely delighted when he was fired. I found that very difficult. And I guess it's the same way as I was very happy when Mourinho went, and there were lots of Mourinho, dare I say, cult members who to this day still, hate me for that. But Like, don't get me wrong, the timing of that was bonkers. Like, the week before the final was just like, what are you doing, Daniel?
Yeah, that was craziness.
But he had to go, in my opinion, because he was killing any love I had for that team and the club at the time. For a lot of people, if that's how they viewed Ange, I get it. I get that's how you were feeling. You were hating everything to go every week and see poor league performances. For me, it goes back to this larger issue at the club, which is Ange could not compete across all the competitions because of the squad depth and the sheer decimation of injuries. It was impossible. I would say that lots of other managers could have got us higher up the table with that squad doing different things. I've got no doubt of that. I don't think there's any other managers, and I could be proved wrong, that would have got that squad with all of the issues over the line in the Europa League. I feel like his ability, the way he motivated that group of players, you only had to see the sheer affection they had for him to know that was a connection. That group will forever be bonded by that experience. And I think you can see that. Now, professional sport carries on. Ange knows that. The players know that. So, but I just want to say this final thing from me, and I'll let you have a kind of final thought on it as well, is for me, it is just systematic of the issue at the club, which is he wasn't backed in the summer before the season started. Not to the extent he needed. There was just a lot of young players signed. One first teamer, that's not good enough.
No.
When he went into January and the club was decimated by injuries, the club had, in my opinion, made the decision they were going to replace him, so weren't going to spend money on Ange ball players. So therefore he was screwed. He came out of that and he had to do something to try and create something, a legacy, create everything. I've seen a lot of his critics say it was selfish. He wanted the trophy for his own selfish reasons. I got to be honest with you, even if that's true, then I still back him on that because he delivered.
Yeah, it's strange. Oh, he only wanted to win it for himself. Okay.
Yeah.
We won a trophy.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like you listen to Jose Mourinho and managers like that. You got to have an ego. You got to have that. This is
don't you? Just yeah.
So. I don't like, to me, okay, all right, if that's your critique, whatever. But for me, it just showed again. And the thing that then's happened is we've then appointed a new manager. So we've started again. This cycle of 18 months to 2 years of just starting again. And this season, 2025-26, I swear to you, only a couple of hours ago as we record this, I read a little thing from a journalist, which has come from the club. We fully expect this to be a transitional season. So that's where my problem is. That's where I'm frustrated. Your final thoughts on Ange, mate, before we move on to our discussion on the new boss.
I will forever hold a place for Ange because of that night in Bilbao.
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed that he was sacked after winning the trophy.
Yep.
There is a part of me that can understand if you are looking at this purely based on league form.
Yeah.
100% had to go. 100% that league form was atrocious.
Yeah.
But then you have to take in the context of the fact that him and the squad all came to like the agreement of, yeah, okay, we need to win the trophy instead. Like the players we have, what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Surely, when you are 2 years into what he was building,
Yep.
and he's just won a European trophy,
Yeah.
then you back him and you go, okay, you did that in the trophy, now show me what you can do in the league. Even if they'd have turned around and gone, right, you've got till Christmas, prove the league form was a one-off.
Well, for me, it's
surely.
Like, imagine you're a chef and you've gone into a restaurant and they've given you a load of ingredients, but there's some missing. you do the best you possibly can, and in that you make one amazing meal and about 4 or 5 average ones. But you point to the fact that if you had the ingredients, you could have made 5, 6 really good meals, but you didn't.
Yep.
The club are constantly doing that to every head coach. Whether I've liked the coach or not, they are constantly doing that to every single one of them. And I hope even if you didn't like Ange, you recognise that. Because you have... If we all keep falling into this same trap of it's all the head coach's fault all the time, then the ownership of the club will consistently get away with what they're doing, which is starting a project, talking big, and then starting it again, talking big, whilst raking so much money out of that stadium that they can fund every other project they're doing. It's difficult. It is incredibly tough. But
how many times can you have the wrong manager before you realise the person hiring the manager isn't very good at hiring managers?
Well, we're going to come on to talk about a certain interview with a certain owner soon, so we will address that in that. But before we get there, we are going to talk about the new boss, and that's Thomas Frank. This is interesting, and this is interesting because me and you have completely polar views on this. I'm going to start with you because I think it's important. You had an opinion on him before he's appointed. And so you fire away. So we're kind of forgetting Ange for the moment, just focusing on Thomas. What are your thoughts around the appointment and everything from there?
Okay, so I actually like Thomas Frank. The reason I like him is because I also listen to Gary Lineker's podcast, The Rest is Football.
Yeah.
And there's been a few times over the last couple of years where Thomas Frank has appeared on their podcast. And listening to him and the way he talks about football, I'm like, that is a very, very intelligent football man.
Yep.
You know, he's clearly very intelligent when it comes to football. It's clear that the way he sets a team up where he basically has a different tactic for every team he plays against, that sort of stuff is brilliant, especially at a team like Brentford, where you're going into most games as an underdog, and he has consistently got them mid-table in the Premiership.
I feel like
having taken over in the Championship.
I feel like you're making my points for me as the positive.
No, not quite. I was very, very... I like him as a football manager.
Yeah.
And what he has done at Brentford deserves a heck of a lot of credit.
Okay.
So I like him as a person and as a football manager. I like him.
Yeah.
However, I think this is now where I get to hand it over to you, as we both have very, very the same on the next bit. I think
where we are polar opposites is I've never liked him, and
yeah.
But I'm going to say this because I think it's really important, and I hope everyone understands what I mean by this. Sometimes in football, life, work, whatever, you see someone, you hear them talk and stuff like that, and you just don't like him. Like, he has done nothing that I can think of that's made me think he's an ass, right? There's nothing. Like, I can't... Like, Arteta does stuff every week. Forget the Arsenal connection, but he does stuff every week. Whoever he was the coach of, I think he's a prat. Like, yeah. The whole standing on the pitch thing, like, I mean, I love that Porro pushed him in that friendly, but, like, there's nothing I can think of. Just sometimes, like, I saw him, he reminds me of a PE teacher. He comes across that way to me.
He even walked out in training wearing a tracksuit with a whistle. I was like, Thomas, no.
No, that didn't help that at all. So I must have said this in our group chat and just to you so many times. I am trying to fight that instinct I have of just like, I don't like him. so I'm like all the time, like, no. Give him time because that's not fair. I'm just making a snap judgment. I've never liked him, but he's got to do the job. He's there now. I've got to support him. So I'm going through that and I am battling it. And I constantly say, it could just be me because I don't like him, but this annoys me. And one of the things I've said a number of times is the fact that I have an ambition for Tottenham, which clearly is different to the owners of Tottenham. And my ambition, and I think yours, and I think a lot of the fans, is that we are actually part of that top 6. We are actually a team that competes for trophies. We just won one. So that's where we should be, in my opinion. We've qualified for the Champions League.
Yes.
We have appointed a manager who not only has never managed in the Champions League, not his fault, but he hasn't. He has never managed in Europe at all. So not only has he got no experience of European competition, let alone the elite, he also has zero experience of managing a squad over a 4-competition season. When Ange was sacked, one of the reasons he was sacked was he clearly could not manage a team in 4 competitions. Well, he did pretty well in 2, maybe 3 of them, but you left him short in the squad department. You've now appointed Frank, and what I hear over and over again is that he has the ability to compete in all the competitions. Well, where has he proven that? He hasn't. So that narrative is nonsense. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone's got to start somewhere. So this season, he could manage the squad brilliantly and do great, and I'd be over the moon at that. But my point is they're pushing this narrative that Ange was crap at that, and this guy's great at it. He's never done it.
Yeah.
The other aspect of this, which is frustrating to me, is we've appointed a manager whose best ever Premier League finish is mid-table. The definition's like 10th.
Yeah.
Now, people go, yeah, but he was at Brentford. We got Pochettino from Southampton, etc. Yeah, Southampton under Pochettino pushed the top half of the table. They were beating the top half teams. Every club were looking at Pochettino and what he was doing there. When he left, that squad he put together got decimated. All of the players that Pochettino was working with got signed by Liverpool, Man United. They got taken everywhere by us. Yeah. Very few of them ever hit the heights that they did whilst working under Pochettino. Brentford have got an incredible recruitment team. I mean, incredible. Over the last 5 years, you've seen the players they've signed, developed, and then sold, and the money they've made on it. Similar to Brighton. And those players have gone on to other clubs and are doing very well. Like, yeah, 1 or 2 might not be in the same level, but they are. Like, they go on, they do very, very well.
Yep.
So my point on that is you're pointing to those 2 coaches. I would argue they're very different. Pochettino had a philosophy on football. This is how I play. This is how I want to play football. The top coaches around the world, including Ange, who we've just sacked, have that. Because they ingrain it into the squad that this is how we play. In every scenario, you know, because this is how we play. Thomas Frank, as you said a minute ago, sets up his team differently for every single opposition. And to me, and maybe this sounds arrogant, that shouldn't be Tottenham Hotspur. Like, we as a club should be going to teams to dominate sides. We should not be fearing. Like, we went to Man City a couple of times and battered them at their own ground. Thomas Frank wouldn't do that because he'd look at that and go, Man City are amazing, therefore we're going to go a flat back 4, full back sat deep. While we are recording this, it is Thursday. While we are recording this, we are playing a friendly against Bayern Munich in Germany. Yeah. The last time I checked, it was 1-0 to Bayern. Harry Kane scored.
Penalty.
And in the text commentary, it says quite clearly, a typical Thomas Frank away performance with everyone sat deep hoping to counter.
Yeah, I just saw that as well.
I watched that under Conte and hated it. I watched it under Jose and hated it. I watched it under the other one I don't name and hated it. I don't want to watch it again. If Conte and Jose couldn't make it work at Tottenham, why do we think Thomas Frank can? So, yeah, I'm overly negative, and I'm sorry because I don't like that. Like,
I'll be people listening honest with you. When he came in, as I was just saying, he's a very football intelligent man.
Yeah,
and I believe he is. I was very much hoping that he would come into this club, see that, okay, right, this is how Tottenham play, this is how they want to play, and I hoped that he would then be like, right, I can implement kind of what I want, but with a more attacking way of football.
I know we're different in age. Do you remember the Crazy Gang? Do you remember Wimbledon before they got MK Donned and AFC?
No.
Okay. So anyone around my age will know that Wimbledon were the kick and rush, long ball, long throws. They were the Stoke, but less.
Vinnie Jones and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, like more violence, because the game was more violent back then. A bit like women's football, proper game. Now we have the situation where probably Stoke are the nearest thing I can say to this, which is all about being direct, countering, putting the ball in the mixer, so to speak, long throws.
Yep.
During this summer and training, that is one of the things that Thomas Frank has been working on. Set pieces, long throws. I know everyone listening to this, if it works, why does it matter? I can't... It's one of those things where I just feel like I'm going to lose this argument with people, because maybe the results in the league this season will be better. Maybe we'll win more than we lost, and all that kind of stuff. But is that really the football you want to watch? Like I'm asking, is that genuinely what you want to see? Do you want to see Van der Ven getting 10 goals a season because he's just this big lump in the box? I don't know. I mean, people, maybe I'm just a football purist and I'm out of my time or whatever. I don't know. But for me, football's entertainment. Tottenham, the reason why so many people are Tottenham fans,
it's the Tottenham way to dare is to do.
The Tottenham way. And yet we dared, we did, and then he got sacked for it. And now it's like we had this guy who was like this kind of swashbuckling, come on lads, come with me, and now we've gone, oh no. Yeah, we won stuff, but it's not stable enough. What we want now is the games master, with his whistle and his tracksuit. Everyone calm down, don't worry. We're gonna make sure we win games 1-0, 2-1. We're gonna make sure our set pieces are all good, make sure we defend nice and deep. I've watched that and it was shite. And when Ange came in, it was like, oh, thank you, this is so much better. So to go backwards again and to look at the squad that was built for Ange, Destiny Udogie, Pedro Porro are not sit-deep fullbacks. No. They're not. That squad has been built to play a style of football, or we're starting to be built to play a style of football. Van der Ven sat in a deep low block is a waste of everything. It's just a waste of time.
It is. I am concerned.
So, I will draw a line.
I do not want to go back to watching Conte and Jose football.
It's worth saying, as a caveat, because I think some people might be screaming this, watching us in the league last season was not a lot of fun.
No.
Look, I will scream to my dying day the circumstances, but it was not fun. So you could point to that and say, well, that was like Jose and Conte and, for the older people, George Graham and stuff, because there was just no joy going to watch those games. Yeah. Whether I attend or not, I do watch every single Tottenham game throughout the season. And yeah, there was not a lot of joy in it. There was not much fun. I was getting loads of reading done most of the time, but the Europa League was insanely good, and that finish. Yeah. So that's Thomas Frank. I will always try and say with this a caveat, because for whatever reason I've just decided I don't like him. My view could well be tainted by that. So please do know that I want everything to work. Like, I want us to be a really good football inside, and if we get a few goals from long throws, I'll be the first to be like, ha, brilliant.
It worked.
Yeah. So like, do not like we win a cup final with a goal from a long throw. Am I going to give a crap about the style of the goal? No. Like, Brennan Johnson's left leg hair pushed that ball over the line in the Europa League final. I don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't matter to me. By the way, I saw a journalist call him Backpost Brennan the other day, and I think that's the best nickname I've heard for a player in ages.
I love that.
Yeah.
Backpost Brennan, yep.
Yeah, I love that. So, as negative and as kind of crappy about that, I do just hope it works. Because, of course I do. I always hope it works. I just got a lot of reservations.
It will be hilarious if we win on Wednesday.
Well, the Super Cup, we'll come on to that. Signings. We have signed Mohamed Kudus from West Ham. We have signed Takai, a Japanese defender. And on loan, we brought in Palhinha from Bayern Munich, who we're playing at the moment.
I was surprised to see he was allowed to play tonight. I know, obviously, the match is on at the moment, but I was surprised to see he was allowed to play tonight.
Friendly, doesn't matter.
No, I suppose that's true.
Yeah,
he did give him a penalty, so I suppose,
Did he?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What a start. So, Palhinha, when he was at Fulham, was without a doubt the best defensive midfielder, 6, whatever people want to say, in the league. He was so good, in fact, that even though he never played, even though he missed all of last season because he went to Bayern Munich, he's still third in all of the stats for defensive stats over the last 2 years. So even though he didn't play a whole season,
that is
he's still
insanity,
third,
isn't it?
which is a mad stat. He did go to Bayern Munich. He didn't play many games. He seemed to suffer with injury, which of course immediately worries me. But he is
the rest of the team, I suppose.
But he is on loan. He isn't it isn't like a set thing. It's an option to sign him. He's just turned 30. Really should be at his best in this role.
I will say I've realised that games like FIFA and Football Manager have now basically done this thing where any player over the age of 29 is now past their best and has been and why are we selling this guy? Like, I've noticed it very much on like social media. Any player over the age of 29 gets linked with someone. Why are we buying them? Why can't we buy a young talent? Why are we buying these old has-beens? And I'm like,
I mean, now I'm 42. It's even worse. Like that, like that really hurts me when I'm like. Someone was the other day about talking about Sonny, talking about Ben Davies and stuff like that, and they were like, of course, doesn't have much in him anymore at 30, whatever. And I'm like,
yeah, Ben Davies is 33. He's over the hill. He hasn't got the legs anymore. And I'm like, I am 34. Ouch.
Yeah. To be fair, you're over the hill and you don't have the legs anymore, I'm afraid, mate. I hate to break that to you. But
no, I know. I find out quite often.
What the Takai signing goes in with this kind of signing young, talented players around the world. I've not seen him play because, of course, we signed him and he got injured in training. So I have, like, that to me almost... People will argue this. That doesn't feel like a signing. That feels like a club kind of... Maybe he might be good, maybe he might not be. I have no idea what the plan is.
It feels very much like when we signed Spence and Conte came out and said, no, this is the Tottenham signing.
Well, and Jed Spence has proven him very wrong on that. But
exactly. That was one of those... This signing, considering we signed him like pretty much as we announced our new manager, you kind of go, well, clearly he hasn't had much of a say in this.
Oh, no, none at all. This is Johan Lange. Now, the way we operate now is very, very director of football's building the squad and Thomas Frank has to coach it, which is how Brentford works. So it's no different to him. It's just... And you got to remember, Thomas Lange was instrumental in it being Thomas Frank, our new manager. He was very much his guy. So if it doesn't work out, then Lange, who I also don't like very much... will be on his bike as well. But hopefully it does work out. So the Takai thing I'm just going to park because I have no idea what the plan is there. That seems a bizarre one. Palhinha, like we said, if that guy stays fit and he has the Fulham form, phenomenal signing. Really solves a problem for us.
And it's going to give players like Sarr and Bentancur the actual ability to push on further forward, knowing... Yeah. Almost like back when we had Wanyama, we had Eric Dyer for those couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Knowing you've got the player there who is going to be there no matter, like, oh, we've lost the ball. It's okay. This guy's going to get it back for us, sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
We've missed that for a while. Like, I think we both agreed Basuma probably played his best game as that role in the cup final.
Yeah.
That is what I expected from him the whole time, and that's kind of what I'm now expecting from this guy.
Yikes. High hopes. Kudus. Do you have much of an opinion on him? Because when we suddenly got linked to him kind of out of nowhere and then the deal was kind of being done, what was funny to me is, like, I watch so much football, like so much, but obviously my focus is always Tottenham. So when we play West Ham, I might spot a couple of players, and the only memory I've got of this guy is he got sent off. That was it. Like, that was like, and then of course I'm watching these compilations, I'm reading all these articles about him, I watched him a few things of him, and I'm like, okay, very direct running, very tricky, likes to beat people. I was a bit concerned about nationality because I was worried about the fact that he might be off to AFCON, but no, his nation didn't qualify, so therefore that's not an issue. So I was like, oh, okay, this seems a lot of money to me, but fair enough if people really rate him. And one of the interesting things was there was a lot of West Ham fans very disappointed he was leaving, and so there was a lot of nastiness online, but the ones who were kind of talking and being interested were just like, if you watch him play on the right, you'll think he's one of the best players in the world. If you watch him play through the middle or the left, you will generally think you've only got 10 players on the pitch. And I laughed at that because I thought to myself, yeah, okay, I understand that. I've seen players like that in the past. Like we can all think of certain players that are like just look phenomenal, but then you ask them to like cover somewhere else and they look like a 10-year-old lost in a stadium.
Yeah.
We're playing Bayern Munich in a friendly. Do you know where Kudus started the game?
I think he started on the left, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Just throwing that out there.
Which is interesting because in my brain, I have on the left we have Tell and Odegaard.
Odegaard, yeah.
Odegaard, we have them on the left. Fine, happy with those options. I think that's quite strong. Happy with that.
Okay.
In the centre, both currently injured, Maddison's and Decky. I think.
Yeah.
But if they were both fit, I'd be really happy with that. And therefore, on the right is Johnson and Kudus.
Yep.
We're missing a number 10, so it would make sense to move him into the number 10 role, see what he can do. Okay. Read that we're starting with him on the left, having read all these West Ham fans go, yeah, good luck with him on the left. Well, just makes you kind of go, oh dear.
I mean, don't get me wrong, different managers, different clubs, etc. Maybe he'll surprise us, but not based on what I've just read. So the next thing, which is we have to talk about, because a lot of people messaged in for our opinion on this, the Morgan Gibbs White fiasco. There is no definitive story that has come out nailing this down. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of kind of what the hell. I have the story which I am kind of guessing is what happened based on stuff I've seen and read. And then I have my favourite conspiracy theory, which I just would love to be true.
Is the conspiracy theory the Daniel Levy went on a bit of a bender, signed 2 players, woke up the next morning, realised what he had done, and quickly informed Nottingham Forest, that, do you know we were told about that release clause? Oh no, we can't sign him now. Oh no.
No, but that one's good. My favourite conspiracy theory is that Daniel Levy, knowing that we would get a transfer ban for tapping up a player, made it public that we were making all these bids and things. We then get a transfer ban. He's like, oh no, I can't spend all the money I've got. What a sad day.
I love that.
I'll just buy
I've lined up all these players. We were going to spend 400 million.
Shame. What a shame. I had all this money to spend. Look at it. Oh, don't want it to go to waste though, so I'll just, build another, go-kart track or whatever.
Cheese factory.
Cheese room. Oh, I'm still angry about the lack of cheese room. So, the thing that I pieced together, and by the way, this is purely me. This is from stuff I've read from people who are quite reputable, and me piecing this together. What I think has happened is that Tottenham did what every single club does, including Nottingham Forest, everyone, and that is identified him as a player they wanted to sign, so contacted his representatives and said, if we are to agree a deal with Nottingham Forest, would your player be interested in joining us? That is not tapping up, just to be abundantly clear, because that is what every single club do. For the simple fact, what is the point in going through weeks and weeks of negotiations if your club goes, yeah, okay, you can talk to the player now, and the player goes, I've got no interest in moving to London. Like, me and my family
part of
are
me
set.
says, ask Newcastle.
Yeah, don't. So, that's what everyone does. It's just part of the thing. So, I believe, therefore, at that point, the agents went, we'll get back to you. Morgan, would you be interested in going to Tottenham, playing in the Champions League? I think they got a resounding God yes. Get me away from this mafia boss. And I think at that point, his agents did something silly and informed us of a release clause. The reason why that was silly is because the release clause was bound by a confidentiality agreement known only to the player, the agents, representatives and the club. Tottenham...
I still need someone to explain what the hell the point of a release clause that no one's allowed to know about is.
So the player has the safety that if someone bids that amount of money, he can leave. So the player in his mind knows that if a team's willing to spend 60, 65 million on him, he can go. He has the option. The club, therefore, are protected to a point as well, so the player can't push for a move lower. It's all kind of in there. The club can ask for like silly pricing or whatever, but they're not going to get it. I know what you're saying around the release clauses, but you got to remember the culture in England is not around release clauses. It's just not a thing. Whereas you go to Spain,
it's a very Spanish thing. Every single player in Spain has to have one.
Yeah, it's part of the rules in those countries. So it is. Yeah, they obviously agreed to it, part of his contract, but they'll only put it in there if it's confidential, and that's. It gets leaked. Now Tottenham then do what I think is the second dumb thing and bid right on the amount without having any kind of...
Is this like, was it years ago, who was it? There was a player and their contract was like £60,001.
Yeah, Arsenal bid and £1 to talk to him. It was Suarez at Liverpool. And he told him to fuck off. Because, he'd want to sign for them people. I was about to say a really bad word then.
But yeah, I do kind of love the fact that we would go in and go, right, okay, his transfer fee is like 62,312,000, and we'll go that amount.
Okay, so just for round figures, and what was reported, 60 million, okay?
Yes.
Now, everybody knows in transfers, you don't typically hand over £60 million when you sign a player. You typically agree over the next 4 or 5 years we'll pay you in instalments. That's how transfers work for this sort of money. All the clubs do it, that's pretty standard. However, on release clauses, typically, because the clubs selling don't obviously want to lose a player, if there's a player in their release clause being triggered, it's obviously someone who's sought after, the club want to retain.
Yeah.
They have the right within that to say, no, you got to pay it in one go.
Makes sense. That does make sense, yeah.
There is some reporting from journalists in Nottingham who claim to have very good ties into the club, but people I don't know, so I can't corroborate, that the release clause actually had a few other parts to it, which are along the lines of had to be in one go, had to be within a set part of the window to give them enough time, had to be a confidential agreement so they could look to spend the money before it was known, so clubs wouldn't know there was like lots of factors to it, none of which were made apparent to Tottenham. So they just went 60 million down, the player's ours. The player wanting to join us said goodbye to everyone, cleared his stuff and was heading for a medical. When the owner of Nottingham Forest threw a fit. Now, what is interesting about this is the story broke Nottingham Forest side. It didn't break from us. We didn't reveal it. So someone at Forest broke the fact there was a release clause. Because if anyone remembers, it went from Tottenham have bid for Gibbs White to there's a release clause to he's on his way for a medical tomorrow. Even a here we go confirmed from Fab Romano.
Yeah, that made him look silly, didn't it? And that doesn't happen very often.
No, a here we go that didn't go anywhere. And he's left it there in credit. He normally deletes them when he fucks up, but that one I think so high profile he's had to leave it.
Yeah, there's no way he can just be like, no, I didn't do that, wasn't me.
No, that was one of those parody accounts that looks like me with the verified tick. So, hilariously then, we've got this weird situation where Nottingham Forest have said, no, you can't go and join them. They've not triggered your release clause. And by the way, how do they know you've got one? To which point, Gibbs White is then stuck in this absolute nightmare limbo of, oh shit. If I say,
oh yeah,
we told them, then you're in breach of contract, which is not a good thing when there's 60 million and all the figures down there.
Yeah.
If he just stays quiet, I don't know how they knew. Then Tottenham are then in a position that they're going to get reported to the Premier League and all this kind of stuff. The long and short of it is, it would appear that Forest and Tottenham have gone back to their neutral corners, lawyers pending. Gibbs White has signed a new contract on more money at Nottingham Forest, and I dare say there's no release clause now. And basically looked like a kidnap victim, stood next to the chairman.
Oh man, that picture was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, the video. Like the video of him talking like, oh, I was in constant contact with Mr. Marinakis and he's such a great chairman. And I'm like, someone's got a gun to him. Someone needs to check on his family.
Like, something is not right here.
Like literally blink twice, Morgan, and we'll send the people to rescue you. This isn't okay. It was a fiasco. And again, it's just the ineptitude of so many factors in that. But whether everyone's going to try and blame everyone else, everyone's going to try and point fingers at everyone else.
Yeah.
Who is to blame? At some point, Morgan Gibbs White will write a book, or at some point, there will be a version of this in the public domain which ties it all up. That version I just laid out is me piecing it together and my theory. I cannot tell you that is exactly what happened, but it's bonkers. And speaking of bonkers, Daniel Levy gave an interview to Gary Neville. Before I watched this, because I think I said in our group chat, that's going to make me angry, because it's going to be a revisionist version of history, I know it, so I'm not watching it till later. Like, I don't want to be angry all day. So I left it, and then I kept seeing things pop up from like accounts I follow, and other Spurs fans just basically like, oh, like I got 5 minutes in and I want to kill him. Like I'm 10 minutes in and he's just said this, so I'm like, oh, okay, gotta watch it now because I need to know the context of all these things I keep seeing.
Yeah.
He's an interesting person who in 25 years has not given many interviews, and yet I still feel like he's given too many now.
He's not given any interviews, and in the last month he's kind of done 2 very quickly.
And has completely, in my opinion, backtracked on the ambition from interview 1 into this one. So, in that video they did, they said, oh, we've won the Europa League, and Daniel Levy says, we've got the taste for it now. We want to win the league. We want to win the Champions League. We want to win. That was kind of unequivocal to me, and I think to a lot of fans. Okay, Daniel, all right, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt then. You're saying you get it now. You've felt that, and you want to repeat it. So, okay, you've always said you want to win everything, but now perhaps, all right, fair enough, Daniel. Go on then, show us what you got. I would say Takai, Kudus, and Polina on loan is not showing us you want to win the league. Just my humble opinion.
It doesn't scream Champions League winners either, if I'm honest.
It does not, does it? You then go into this interview with Gary Neville, where Gary basically is like, you've said this, the club, you're saying you've stated ambitions always been the same. Not really seen a lot of that in 20 odd years, which, to be fair to Neville, that's a very fair thing to say. And he completely kind of like, well, you know, we've always wanted to win stuff, and, you know, I'm not saying anything any different. And so all of a sudden, that kind of manifesto, that kind of, we are going forward, we are Tottenham, hear us roar, we're back, we're going to be a big club, was bollocks. And I'd like to say I'm surprised, not surprised, I don't know what I am anymore, but I found the whole interview with Gary Neville very frustrating. There were a few topics they talked about were very interesting to me. Football governance. Of course Daniel Levy doesn't like government oversight. What a shock. They're giving fans some representation and power and he's against it. Oh wow, colour me stupid. You then have his discussions around the fair play rules, and he was very careful with that, and I think he was right to be. Because Neville kept like, yeah, so like Man City are breaking all the rules, and he's like, that's an ongoing case. Gary, move on. So I get that, and I understand. And also his point, by the way, that the FA should have been doing this, not the government. I wholeheartedly agree with him. But they didn't. So, as Gary Neville said, we've both agreed the FA should have. They didn't. So now who can, if not the government? And I think Gary Neville's right on that. Yeah. But you watched it. I mean, I could pick loads of different things, but I don't need to. If you've not seen it, it's on YouTube. It's the Overlap podcast with Gary Neville. It's the most recent interview exclusive with Daniel Levy. There's some fun stuff around the stadium, which is nice. He really pushed to have that glass roof. Everyone should really pay attention to that.
It's the fact it took 25 out of 35 minutes before he actually mentioned football.
Well, yeah.
That was a big standout moment for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do I expect anything else? Like, I will constantly say Daniel Levy is the best businessman in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't think even the most bitter, hatred-driven person who cannot stand Daniel Levy must admit he is the best businessman in the league. However, when it comes to the football side of a football club, it's not there. And so, there was some bits in the interview, like there's some comments made about, I think Neville asks him, what do you say to people that think you're too involved? Yeah. I don't pick the teams, I don't pick this, I don't do this, I just confirm the transfers. And it's like, no. That's the problem. The problem is you do the transfers. I
would have liked Neville to kick back on that, and I understand that it's not an easy thing, because of course if Neville's too confrontational, this thing never goes to air. Like Daniel Levy just goes, nope, walks off, and that's it. Yeah. But as a fan in that instance, if I'm having this conversation with Mr. Levy, I would say, yeah, but you appoint those coaches. You appoint those directors of football. It's you making those decisions that do all that. And if you're telling me that every time this club's fallen short, it's down to those people that you have appointed, do you not feel that you do actually bear some responsibility? And if he still says no, and if he still says no, I've appointed those people in good faith, then they've not turned around, and that's why I've replaced them. At what point does he then also take responsibility for some of the transfers? He said, and the words he used, got to me. They will identify the player, and then I will do what is best for Tottenham Hotspur. Yes, that's the line, isn't it? That's the line where you're like, yes. So basically, Poch gave you a list of 5 players. Yeah. You signed the 7th. Yeah. So Harry Redknapp wanted Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
You gave him Saha. Yeah. You had AVB wanted Moutinho. Like, the list that I could do, you're telling me that every
the Madison's 4 or 5 years before we signed him. Yeah. Hazard, Suarez. There's so... You could go back as far as, was it Rivaldo?
The Rivaldo. The Grealish one is the one that, to me, for me especially, and Zaha is another. Zaha, Crystal Palace said, the player wants to leave, he wants to play in the Champions League, he wants to join Tottenham. It's 40 million. He said no. We're not paying more than 25 for him, we don't value him that highly. We then spent 40 million on 3 players who played a combined total of 20-something games for the club over 4 years in that same window. That season was the season that we finished behind Leicester, and we drew too many games. A player like Zaha is the difference maker in those situations, and
Definitely.
a footballing person would know that. A footballing person would be like, no, yeah, you might not value him at that, Daniel, but to us, in footballing terms, he is worth that. And if you're thinking of signing 3 other players, I think it was Stambouli, something and something else, like useless crap, basically.
Yeah.
That added nothing to the squad. Pochettino didn't even use them because he knew how crap they were within a couple of weeks. Like, literally, everyone had to be injured, plus the youth players had to be out on the piss before he put one of them in. And then you've got that was the trade-off. That was doing what was best for Tottenham Hotspur. In his brain, well, I got 3 players for that same money. That's probably what he thinks, because he's thinking of it in a transactional business sense, not footballing. A football person would know signing Zaha wins you games you're drawing, draws you games you're losing.
Yeah.
And 40 million was a freaking steal for that. And we fucked it. And we fucked it so badly that Zaha didn't want to come to us then later when we could do a deal. Go to Grealish. Grealish, 25 million to sign Jack Grealish. In the same window that Real Madrid were going to spend 100 million on Christian Eriksen, who was desperate to leave.
Yes.
Homegrown, plays in the same position. Pochettino wanted him to be a 10 through the middle. Wanted him to be this creative Gaza type 10. Creative, running, being dynamic. That was what he wanted. Identified him, met with him, sold him on it. Grealish cleared his locker, said goodbye to everyone. Everyone knew he was signing for us. Aston Villa knew. And then we lowballed them from 25 down to 15 because of their financial problems. Which meant 2 weeks later, when they got a new investor, the first thing they did was went 40 million or F off. Because you tried to screw us. We had a deal at 25. Everyone was ready. The player was ready. The medical was booked. And then you tried to screw us. But you tried to do it because of our financial position. And if you think that Aston Villa don't hold that grudge still to this day, and if you think Jack Grealish doesn't hold that grudge, knowing that he got fucked around and had to go back to the club he said goodbye to everyone at, then I don't know what to say to you. But we had Eriksen desperate to leave, never played like himself ever again after that.
No.
Didn't get to go. Well, that was 100 million, and 25 million of that for Jack Grealish. We'd have had 75 million over, and Grealish literally walking into the side to replace Eriksen. And he didn't do the deal, because he tried to screw him to do what's best for Tottenham Hotspur.
Leave his iron.
And that right there is him involved in the football inside, which he claims he's not. So, that annoyed me. Super Cup. We play Paris Saint-Germain next week. Predictions?
It's like the charity. It's like that Charity Shield rubbish. It's just a overhyped friendly, isn't it? I don't care what the score is. It's fine.
Okay. I actually do care, and this is why I'm screwed. To me, this is actually a big friggin' deal. It's regarded as a trophy.
Yeah,
like
it is a trophy. It's
the new World Club Cup. This is a big deal.
I think this is going to be a bit of a poison chalice, if I'm completely honest.
Okay.
We go out there and we get thumped by PSG.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank is then on a hired into nothing.
Yeah.
Because, wow, look, he's already screwed us over. Like, he's got us to a final. Look how he did it. He can't handle the pressure.
Got us to a final. Ange got us to a final.
He can't handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Ange got us to a final. Ange won a final. Thomas Frank's in a final. He can't handle it. He's then instantly on the back foot for the rest of the season.
I agree. I will say all of that. Yes, continue.
Yep. If we win,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, well, you don't need any more players because you've just won with all these players.
No,
So we don't need any more signings. And then all of a sudden, the pressure has just been absolutely ramped on him because, well, you just beat PSG in the final. So you're winning everything this season, mate. I don't think... Tottenham Hotspur, I want to see us lifting a trophy.
Always.
You know, so I want us to win on Wednesday because I want to see Tottenham win a trophy. I don't think I'm going to have the same feeling behind it if we do as I did with the Europa League.
Nope.
You know, call me a Man City fan. You know, winning these trophies gets boring after a while. It won't feel the same. But at the same time, yeah, I just think it's a bit of a poison challenge for old Thomas Frank there.
Well, hopefully he drinks it and we get a new manager quickly. I mean, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, totally. That is our show. That is everything we had to cover. Amazingly, we got it done in just over an hour somehow.
Once you've edited out my chat about the Lionesses, well, I reckon it's under an hour.
No, I'm not doing that. I want to see you get lynched. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening, and we're back. Like I said, this is episode 275, so we've done 275 of these. It's mad. We will be back next week. What day at the moment is a bit of a movable feast due to work commitments and things like that. We're committed to weekly, but you're going to have to keep an eye on the socials. I mean, it sounds like I'm kind of doing this like, keep an eye on the socials. Like, literally, I don't know yet.
Are we going to try and go pre-cup final and build up, or post-cup final and celebrate?
It's gonna massively depend on work. Genuinely, for me, like I have got one of those weeks. I know you're like set hours and stuff, but I've got one of those weeks where my meetings have meetings to discuss arranging a meeting. It's gonna be insane.
Oh, one of those ones. Have fun.
Yeah. No. Always remember the saying, meetings are where minutes are taken and lives in hours are wasted.
Yes.
And on that note, massive thank you to listening to us again. You can get in touch via any of the socials. Instagram is where lovely Laura resides. Do drop her a message. She is still happily married. I'm sorry, a few people did email in to see if that's lasted the summer. It has. Her OnlyFans is still on hiatus, but if they ever have an argument and she puts it back online again, I'll let you all know, I promise. Away from that, you can get in touch via Facebook. We added admin Ryan, who's part of the team now. You can get in touch via the TikTok account, which is me, which is just mostly stupid shit. Twitter is also me. Here on the podcast, you can get in touch directly via email, which is sam@spursnews.co.uk. Mate, I will say goodbye to everyone and hand it over to you for the final words.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.